Great. So, hi guys, thanks for joining us. I am here with Phyllis Guy, who is the owner and founder of Natural Body Wisdom, and I brought her on to talk to you guys about the brain-gut connection and how it can help you and affect you at home. So, Phyllis, without further ado, tell us about yourself.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks, Kenny. It's nice to share this space with you, and we have quite a bit in common, and so it's great that we can share time like this. Yeah, basically, my background is goes a long way back. I'm a certified nutrition coach, but I grew up in Maine a long time ago, in the cold and the snow, and we learned to be really active in Maine, because if you didn't go out in the harsh winters and do something and be active, then it was a really long winter. And my mother tried to feed us properly, but I grew up in the 70s and 80s when the whole low-fat movement and convenience foods were starting to take over the market. And we all thought margarine and Snackwell cookies were going to save us, right? Remember those? Now we know better. Now that I'm older,
Hopefully we know better.
Hopefully, as I get older, I'm still very active. And some of my favorite activities that I like to fuel properly with good nutrition are hiking, ballroom dancing, strength training, even running. I've been doing some form of running ever since high school, but as I'm listening to my body more and getting older, I can just tell that it's time to cut back significantly on some of the things, because I can't do it all. But fitness is still a big part of what I do. I do have a bachelor's degree in psychology, and when I moved to Denver, I got a master's degree in accounting, because I thought I wanted to be practical. But the two have been working well for me. And recently, as a nutrition coach, and as I'm going through my own life changes in my 50s, I really like to help women go through their menopause challenges. And so as I learn about things like mindfulness and yoga and all those things that help with the balancing our hormones, I can pass that along to my clients, as well as eating well and eating right and making sure that we're eating to nourish not only our activities, but our hormone health. So my focus has been on the gut and the brain connection, and how that helps balance our hormones. Because if our gut is off, our brain is off, and it's a domino effect to all of our hormones. And we used to think that we only had one brain, and that was our thinking brain. And sure, we still have that brain, and it's a thinking brain, but we have our second brain that people are now calling it in our gut. And I actually like to call it the first brain, because everything goes through the gut first, right? Our nourishment, and most of our neurotransmitters are in the gut. 90 to 95% of those feel-good hormones, like dopamine, or not neurotransmitters, sorry, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, all those good feel-good hormones are in our gut. And so our gut has to be healthy for it to get to our brain. And like I said, that has a whole cascade effect on the estrogen, the testosterone, all those wonderful things. Yeah.
So in terms of the brain-gut connection, how can we start to work on that, specifically maybe around the hormonal changes of menopause, and how can we essentially put that into action?
Good questions. There are a whole number of lifestyle factors that affect the gut. So things like exercise, like you do. My two big things are sugar or processed foods and stress. Also things like sleep. I'm sure I'm forgetting things. Mindfulness and meditation. If our cortisol is off in our gut, everything is off. All the other hormones are off as well. So it's really up to us to educate ourselves about what our bodies want as far as nutrition. So I follow kind of a paleo-ish template, even lower carb, but not everybody. That's not what everybody wants. I mean, if you I work with some people who are vegetarian. I work with people who are paleo, and even I haven't worked with anyone who's carnivore yet, but you know, somewhere in between vegan and carnivore is. But but the bottom line really is, in any diet, is about eating real food.
Yeah.
So I just like to get people on the real food track, and that's how we can start make the biggest effect on our gut microbiome and getting our hormones balanced. So
yeah, where do most people start with you when they're working with you? What's some of the first steps in terms of getting them to eat healthier, better foods for them and understanding that gut-brain connection within them?
Yeah, good question. Just to give you an example of one of my most recent clients, I'll call her Susan. She was in her mid-60s, and when we first met, she you could tell she had a lot of brain fog going on, and she wanted to be active and energetic for her grandkids, but it just wasn't going that way for her like she wanted to. And she wasn't sleeping well at night. And so I took her through my first month of coaching, which involves a sugar detox. And that's not for everybody, but she was ready to do it. She was very motivated. So we took all the sugar and processed foods out of her diet. Within 5 days, she had tremendous results. Her energy was up. She had lost weight. I can't remember how much, but she was losing weight. Her knee pain went away. She was playing with her grandkids, and she was sleeping better, and all those things. So just taking sugar out of your diet and eating real food, like I said, does wonderful things to your body and your brain. People just don't realize. I call our society the walking unwell.
Yeah.
Because they're walking around and they just don't know how good they can really feel until they make some changes.
Yeah, there's a term that I like that I've heard more recently called metabolically obese. So it doesn't actually have to do with your current weight or your current body fat, but it has more to do with the health detriments of your internal organs and your gut and your brain. And so if you were to open someone up and see their actual health, they would have an F if they were graded. Even though on the outside they might look healthy and strong and fit, it's their metabolism and their actual internal health that's struggling.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So on that note, what are some signs that you see in people that have kind of a deficiency in their brain-gut connection?
Good question. It's things like an upset stomach every day or most days, constipation, diarrhea, maybe heartburn. If you have a high sugar diet or craving a lot of sugar, because the bad microbiome in our gut actually craves sweet foods and sugary foods. And so it's a vicious cycle. You know, you're eating, yeah. So the more sugar you eat, the more sugar you want to eat, and that bad gut bacteria is just craving more and more. Maybe you have weight changes, either gaining a lot of weight quickly or losing a lot of weight quickly. Things like SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, has a lot to do with your gut bacteria, as well as even insulin resistance, Crohn's disease, things like that. If you're not sleeping well at night, that can be something where your gut microbiome is off, or skin irritations, eczema, what's the other thing? Psoriasis, things like that. And even food intolerances. So that gluten intolerance that a lot of people have I wouldn't say could be, I'd say is gut related. And sometimes when we take care of the gut, we can go back to eating those foods you thought you were sensitive to, whether it's eggs or nuts or gluten or whatever it might be.
Yeah. So tell me about some of the kind of hormonal changes surrounding menopause, both pre, post, and I guess during menopause. What's going on there and its relationship to nutrition?
Yeah, the hormonal changes, our estrogen and progesterone are tanking because we don't eat our eggs anymore. So that's, the body's just saying it's time to move on. And we didn't used to live as long as we do, but now we're living to, the average, I forget the average age of a woman, it's 80 something. So if you go through menopause at 50-ish, you've still got 30 plus years of good living to do. So we want to make sure that those hormones are working properly. And so, yeah, if one hormone is off, it sends the others off. And when I think of that, I think of cortisol and the stress hormone as well. So the cortisol is a good hormone, but a lot of people think it's not a good hormone because it's there for us to clean up. It's kind of a cleanup crew to lower inflammation when we are going through that stressful situation. Mm-hmm. And that stressful situation is, we're only supposed to be in that situation 2 to 4 minutes at a time. So think about when you're running away from a bear or a lion or whatever it might be. It's like you're gonna either get away from the bear in that 2 to 4 minutes, or the bear is going to eat you, or whatever it's going to be. Yeah, but it's going to be over in 2 to 4 minutes, and then you can relax and be good. And the cortisol goes right to where it needs to go, and it takes your blood sugar goes up when you're in a stressful situation, so that it can go to your extremities, so you can run, or, fight or flee. So that's why people who are on continuous glucose monitors will see their blood glucose go up when they're in a stressful situation. So that means the insulin is going to go up again to get rid of that. So that's an insulin resistant thing too, where the more insulin that the body is releasing to get rid of that blood glucose, then that leads to prediabetes or diabetes and other responses like that. So cortisol can also lead to a leaky gut. So I don't know if you all know what a leaky gut is, but it's basically the walls of your intestines become permeable to substances that shouldn't be, that they shouldn't be permeable to. So it causes a cascade of more inflammation throughout the body and even the brain. So that's what happens when our cortisol is chronically elevated, and not just in that acute 2 to 4 minutes. Mm-hmm. So, yep.
What are some of the foods that you find either people are not eating enough of, or some things that you find when you add to their diet, it helps them ease some of the symptoms of basically poor nutrition and the change in the hormones?
The biggest thing is sugar and processed foods, getting that out of the diet. I actually have a question for you. Yeah. Do you know how much average sugar, or how much sugar the average American eats on a yearly basis?
Oh God, I know I'm at the upper limit if there is one.
Yeah.
in pounds? Let me guess.
Pounds, yeah.
Oh boy, I want to guess it's in the tens of pounds.
Times 10.
Oh.
Yeah, we used to. The first time we were. About in 1770, these are the statistics I have. In 1770, on average, we ate about 4 pounds of sugar per year per person. Today, it's about 150 to 60 pounds of sugar per year per person. Wow. Yeah, and the food industry just loves to add sugar to everything, because then we'll eat more, because we're actually wired to eat more sugar. Mm-hmm. I kind of think of things ancestrally when all the sweet fruits were available. It was at the end of the summer, the fall, and that was to fatten us up, because there was a lean winter coming and we didn't know what was going to be available. So we had to use our own body stores to nourish ourselves, or to get our fuel. Now we're in a perpetual summer with, sugary Starbucks drinks, granola bars all over the place. So I actually have a little show and tell, if you'll indulge me a little bit. Please. So I'm totally guilty of this. I used to take this skiing. I feed it to my kids. Little did I know that there is 7 teaspoons of sugar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teaspoons of sugar in this Nature Valley granola bar.
But it's healthy.
But it's not. There are a lot of ingredients here that cause, inflammation within the body if you eat it on a continuous basis, day after day. Once in a while, it's not a big deal. If you've got no other choice, sure. And then I used to also do triathlons and marathons, and I thought, oh, a Cliff Bar, that's healthier. Well, maybe not.
Even more.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 teaspoons of sugar, and it's falling all over my table. And for soda drinkers, it's even worse. So I picked up a little Mountain Dew the other day, and in a Mountain Dew there are, let's see, there's the beginning, 19 teaspoons of sugar in a Mountain Dew. And they used to say there were 2 servings in this bottle. I don't know anybody who drinks half a bottle of any kind of soda. So yeah, that's eye-opening to a lot of people. Yeah.
Wow. So I guess on the flip side of that, what are some foods to add to someone's diet, or something you don't think people are eating enough of? They should be doing more. Granted, individuality. Sure.
I think calorie for calorie, things like, you're not going to like this, but liver or grass-fed meats are great nutritional additions to our regimen, as well as greens. I think just a combination of quality protein and plants is great, and nuts and seeds and plants and animal protein, whether it's eggs, dairy. Some people can tolerate dairy, some people can't, but that can be good. Yeah, that's the basics. Getting back to the basics is really it.
Yeah. I've often found some advice that I give to clients when they're concerned about eating, let's say, like a full fat meat or a lot of eggs or something that's calorically dense but whole food. I like to remind them that you should try to gain weight only eating whole foods. It's extremely hard.
It is hard. Yeah.
Very hard.
Yeah. I made myself a stir fry. Yeah. I made myself a stir fry for lunch with some great olive oil, shrimp, vegetables, and some Asian spices and whatnot. And it was delicious. And I'll be good till 6, 7 o'clock tonight.
Yeah. Have you ever looked into, for clients of yours, kind of a supplemental diet to get them to get rid of some of their habitual sugar use? Like, I know for me, and it's worked for some of my clients, if I ever offer, saying instead of having those sugary treats, eat fruit for now, because it might be so hard to give up all that food right away, supplement it and then reduce it. Have you worked on stuff like that with people?
Yes, depending on where they are and how much processed foods they eat. It's like, first of all, get rid of the soda, maybe even stop the nighttime snacking. Say stop eating at 6 or 7 o'clock at night and go 12 hours so that the body can rest and digest. Because that's what we need as well. Because if we're eating, every 2 or 3 hours, we're constantly elevating our blood glucose levels. And again, the insulin response to every time we eat, and then we get more resistant to insulin. But like years ago, I fell for that line of thinking as well. When I first started, I started many years ago as a personal trainer myself, and followed the eat every 2 or 3 hours.
It is the worst advice.
I admit it. I'm guilty.
Every trainer goes through it. It's the bro advice is what we call it in my work line of work, is the bros. The bros somehow they took over and they made science.
That's right, because they look good, right?
Yeah, right. If I look good, then my advice is correct, and then eventually it doesn't work and you're out of business. Right.
Yeah. So, and then sometimes people just start feeling better if they change their gut health with supplements. I became a wellness partner with a company called Amare, and they have a line of supplements that really focuses on that gut-brain connection, getting the gut healthy with good probiotics and prebiotics and phytobiotics. A lot of people know what probiotics are and how good they are, but you also need the prebiotics, which are fibrous foods like jicama and asparagus and things like that actually feed the probiotics. So you start feeling better that way. So that's good. And then the phytobiotics are, again, plant foods that help with the good gut microbiome.
Yeah. And what was the name of the company again? Amare?
Amare Global, AMARE.
Great.
And we can put that link as we put this together. So I find that people don't people don't realize that they can feel good until they start changing their gut. And so that sometimes I start people on that even before I start coaching them, because that actually helps with their cravings and some of the other things physically that they're dealing with. And then they can get more confident because they just have more energy, or their brain is functioning better. So they have more willpower isn't the right word, but more confidence in their own ability to change their diet or change the habits that they need to be healthier.
Good.
Yeah.
So if you had kind of like a few things that are very simple, actionable things that someone could do tomorrow, today, this week, that is simply done for them, what would you maybe recommend?
The first things I tell my clients, one is don't buy anything you see advertised on TV. That's actually not simple. It's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. Yeah. The other thing is to be mindful. I try to have people actually sit down to eat whatever meal they're eating, and just take some breaths. The other day I heard something about 6 breaths is that magic number to get you really into that relaxation mode. I thought it was anywhere between 5 and 10, but 6 is a good number. So every time you sit down at the table, really sit down at the table and intend to eat what's in front of you with all your senses, and try not to watch TV. Don't read the magazine or your phone or whatever it is, and really be present to that meal. And that, again, it's simple, but it's so hard for people.
Not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nothing good is easy.
That's true. I used to justify it, like I'd eat in front of the TV and put like a comedy show on or something like that. And I thought, well, it's a comedy. It's not stressing me. It's helping me relax. But still, even that, it's mindless. You know, it's like
it's distraction.
It's distraction. Yep, absolutely.
Cool. So have less distractions when you eat. Take some breaths to calm yourself down. You know, don't buy the heavily processed, heavily marketed, shiny new toy of food every time you see it.
Yep.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. The other thing I'd like to share too is I'm experimenting with this myself, because I've got, you know, those hot flashes that we all love as menopausal women. So I'm experimenting with this. It's called the Hormone Fix.
Cool.
Dr. Anna Kabecka, she's an OBGYN, and she kind of combines keto and the alkaline diet. So we've all heard of keto. There are good ways and not so good ways to do keto. I do coach some people through a keto diet the right way, to eat real food and not just, oh, if it fits my macros, it's good kind of keto. And then there's also keto. Right. Then there's also the alkaline diet on the other side, which is awesome greens and vegetables and things that make us more alkaline instead of acidic in the body, which helps to balance hormones as well. So she kind of marries the two together, and it seems to be working really well to balance hormones. So I am experimenting with that, and I will let you know definitely how that's going to go in the next month or so.
Great. I think it's important to hear that you are pushing your own knowledge and experimenting with things. It's, you know, the nutritional field and in general the health field, or at least the holistic and natural health field, is constantly evolving, constantly growing. We're always finding new things. And as I know you and I have discussed before, that there's an art form to it also, that, you know, no one is a perfect formula. Nobody is wrapped up in a textbook and that's perfect for them. It's, you know, we as coaches, you and I have to learn, well, maybe here's another strategy that will work for only one person I meet. But if it helps that one person, then it's worth experimenting with and learning and kind of growing through, because it's never stops. Right.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, do you have any kind of closing thoughts or ideas you wanted to share that maybe we didn't uncover?
Like you said, it is about experimenting, and a diet that might work for you today or worked for you 10 years ago might not work for you today, because the body is changing. So again, that's why I'm experimenting with myself and my clients as well. So A vegan diet might work for a week, it might work for 10 years, but then your body says, oh, well, this isn't working because I need something else right now. So we all have to be our own experiments.
Yeah.
And I also want to offer to your clients that if they feel that they want to get some tips and tricks and suggestions, I'm offering a free 30-minute phone consultation so that I can kind of see if they're stuck in some way that you can't help, then I am more than happy to talk to them about their nutrition and their gut-brain connection and that sort of thing.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll have people jumping on board to claim to be my client now.
Right. Sure.
Cool. Well, thank you so much,
Right.
Phyllis. That's been really nice.
Thanks. I really appreciate your time.
Cool. Well, thank you.
All right. Bye.